Welcome to the Accelerate Campfire. I'm Lyndon Bowen, and today I'm joined by an amazing entrepreneur. I truly hope you enjoy hearing their experiences and life path. Listen in. Naya Powell is a third generation entrepreneur, a number one best-selling author, and the CEO and founder of Spa Utopia and Global Wellness. With a client list featuring companies such as Microsoft, the Ritz-Carlton, and ESPN, USGW works to provide holistic, multicultural wellness opportunities, spa experiences, and global retreats for individuals, top brands, and Fortune 500 companies. In addition to being an amazing leader and speaker, Naya was one of only 50 CEOs in North America to receive Google's Black Founders Fund, as well as CNBC's Rising Woman Africa in 2021. So, guys, please give a warm welcome to Naya. She's amazing. Hence the wellness. We just talked about Belize when we hopped up here. So, the wellness, come with your chakras and your energies ready to receive all the amazing advice that Naya's going to have for us here today. So, thank you, Naya, for being here.
Thank you, Lyndon. I'm excited.
So we actually have the first question here from the community. They're curious to know, like, what were you doing? Put us in your mindset before you launched Utopia, Spa and Wellness.
Oh, yeah. So, great question. So, I was actually doing a combination of things. So, I was working as an HR consultant, and I was also working in our family business. So, I was kind of wearing multiple hats. And, a lot of my journey, I have worn the hats of corporate America while operating in some entrepreneurial pursuit. But at that time, I was actually serving as a role in our family business, government contracting based in DC.
And what does it mean to be like a third generation entrepreneur? We have a number of entrepreneurs in here that are kind of like down the generations. I think Joe is also a third or second generation entrepreneur. Alyssa is definitely a third or second generation entrepreneur. Could you kind of put us into like what it means to be you know a child of entrepreneurs yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just, what it does is, it makes you such a problem solver. And you see opportunities all around you. I think it also means having a high level of grit factor, a very, very strong work ethic, and being extremely resourceful. So, entrepreneurship, despite what people think, it's not the sexiest thing. It's like one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And so, coming from a lineage, a really rich lineage of that, I just think it shapes us different, and we see the world a little differently. And we're not also, I will say for me, I'm not disillusioned by, oh, I don't want to work for anybody. I'm going to work for myself. And then I won't have any problems. Actually, all your clients, you're working for them still. So you're still
Right.
working for people, but now you just don't have the infrastructure and the support of all these different teams and
Right.
organizational infrastructure in place. So you're creating everything from scratch. And I think you see the perseverance and the resilience that it takes. But I think seeing that helps me to understand that it's possible. It's possible to get back up. And, as long as you do get back up and continue to forge ahead and don't quit. And I'm not saying that there are some times where I think we have to look at our why and what in our pursuit, and we might need to recalibrate, right? We might need to pivot. We might need to do some things differently, and sometimes we just need to pause, and that's okay too. We need to pause so we can recenter, refresh, and then push forward again, get back up and push forward. But there's a lot of complexities to it that I don't think you understand. So there are peaks and valleys. You can have these high highs and you can have low lows, and not you can, you will. And so, just growing up as a third generation entrepreneur and seeing my parents accomplish so much, but also seeing just hardships and challenges that go along with that, I think it's sobering, but it's also made me stronger, mind, spirit, body, and as a founder. And it's something that I'm very grateful for. And kudos to those that are entrepreneurs that didn't have the example, because that means, you're learning even more as you're going. So, big kudos to you as well.
And you mentioned watching your parents go through those moments. What was your why, right? I'm sure your parents had a why that kept them going and kept them pushing. What was your own why for building Utopia Spa and Global Wellness?
Yeah, I think my why is born out of a few things. One, just that grit and work ethic, and just the grind of it all. It it showed me that with all of that pushing, there has to be some sort of reprieve, right? And with all of that, going hard and work and late hours, I think, a few things I typically mention, but what comes to mind today that's a little different is even with all of that, like my father was always one to make time for quality time. And so, like, we would go to the beach a lot. He would take us to museums and festivals. My mom would have friends over, we would do cookouts. So even with all of that, like, serious push, there was moments of, having that fun and living life a little bit. And I'm very grateful for that, because I think that that's where there's a huge imbalance today. And we're seeing just the epidemic, like, proportions of burnout, because we don't take those moments to, like, come up for air. And so I saw that, lived that, but also even living it out myself, right? Like, in the corporate grind and not always feeling fulfilled. When I graduated from Clark Atlanta University and I went into my first corporate role, I knew that that could not be my end all be all, because it didn't make anything come alive on the inside. So I knew I wanted more, and I just didn't know exactly what it was. But then when I actually learned more about the spa industry, it really made those sparks start flying. But those were seeds that were also planted because my father, who started a government contracting business in the DC area, was also very health conscious, still very health conscious, marathon runner most of my life, vegetarian, pescatarian, so very healthy eater. And that's where my love for wellness was born, just from the talks with him and his influences. And then my mom became the first Black national Mary Kay sales director in the state of Virginia. And to this day, she's retired and she's an emeritus, but she's still the only Black woman that has achieved that status. And so when you take the influences of health, beauty, wellness, entrepreneurship, and you put those together, that is really what drove me to say, I want to have a spa business one day. And so I started with doing spa events, corporate events, special events, parties, and things of that nature. And then we grew, and we started doing partnerships with 4 and 5-star hotels, such as the Ritz-Carlton, and that afforded us to have clients such as Martha Stewart, P. Diddy, and the likes. And then we formalized even more and grew even further. And then we really created more of an online, on-demand platform where people could actually get connected with vetted, licensed professionals and providers conveniently. And what I recognized is, because of the way in which we grind and we go and we go and we work, a lot of times it's not that we don't have the financial resources to invest in our self-care. For many of us, we don't have the time resources. We suffer from time poverty. And so we are burning out like crazy. And so my same father that, really instilled a lot of these values in me, I also saw my father survive multiple strokes. And so if you think back, I just said that he was a marathon runner most of my life, and vegetarian, pescatarian, they don't go together. But unfortunately, they can go together when you're doing, relentless 16-hour days, and you're traveling around the world for business, and you have, a team of, sometimes we would scale up. Him and my brother really grew this company. And then I came in and served as president of our Atlanta division, to hundreds of people and multi-million-dollar contract awards with extreme deadlines. And so when you have that level of chronic and pervasive stress day in and day out for years and years and years, you can't really outrun the impact of that level of debilitating stress. And so it can still result, even for the gym goer, the runner, the healthy eater, it can still result in strokes. And so I said, my why has gone to an all-time high, and we have evolved so much as a company and as a business, especially through COVID. You are really exploring and delivering wellness through virtual platforms that are safe and convenient, and really creating a global community to connect with people around the world around wellness. So we had to pivot a little bit, but it's really been a blessing. So that's a lot of my why and what fuels me and helps to keep me honest, which is why I am going to Belize the 31st, so I don't burn out because it can happen to the best of us.
I mean, Naya, I mean, your story is so inspiring, and it's something that, you know, even in my life, I try to take, you know, all the teachings and advice that you're always imparting and apply it to myself. I'm particularly curious, like, you know, when you were
Mhm.
building out Utopia Spa and Global Wellness, like, what is your approach to business? Like, how do you guys deliver wellness and hospitality to people across the world? Could you kind of, you know, give us a little bit of that information?
So we started as Spa Utopia. And when I met you, Lyndon, that's who we were. And so when
Yep.
COVID hit and we knew that we could not be in person in the same way, we knew that we were going to have to do something different because we didn't want to be like 40% of other Black owned businesses that no longer existed by April 2020. So you're talking about 30 days later, for almost half of our businesses went away. And so, with some thought, some mindfulness, some prayer, some advisors, I just started really thinking about, okay, I'm a mindfulness facilitator. I'm seeing on the news every morning, in the headlines, the benefits of mindfulness to help combat depression and anxiety, and how, this is something wonderful for companies. And I was seeing it like literally almost every single day. And then we were starting to do a little, in our corporate wellness offerings. We were already incorporating mindfulness sessions along with our massages and other spa services. And then occasionally we would do some yoga sessions. So it occurred to me that mindfulness and yoga are two things that we can do without being in person. These are two things that we can do over, a platform like Zoom or some of these other wonderful platforms, right? And then I started to engage with like some of my friends that were across the globe, on a weekend call. And one of them is the founder of our social impact partnership, Awa Mary, the founder of the Woman Boss. And we did we did an African dance class virtually together. She's in Spain
Wow.
at the time. I'm here in Durham, and we connect on live. And then so all the bells started going off, and I was just like, that was so fun. Why not do more of this? And we are global citizens. We're living in every day we're becoming more of a global world, and we're dealing with the global pandemic, and we're all suffering. And so much of natural and preventative health and wellness practices, when you think about yoga, when you think about Tai Chi, when you think about, a lot of the different practices. I'm also, in a former life, was a massage therapist, so studied like a traditional Chinese medicine. And when you think about all of these things around natural health, a lot of those practices are coming from the East, and they're coming from around the world. And so as I continue to just flush out this idea with my advisors and Google for Startups coaches and so forth, it started to crystallize and become clear that we can become more than Spa Utopia. We can become Utopia Spa, because we're going to put that on low simmer because we keep getting requests, but we want to make sure we can keep people safe and alive. But we're going to put that on low simmer, and we're going to really open this up through, a web-based platform where we can connect people, live community, not just a YouTube. You can have an instructor that can see your face, that can greet you, that can ask, is this your first time, that can, connect everybody on that session together, and we can come together and we can do some mindfulness, and we can do some yoga, and we can do some Pilates, or we can do some Bollywood, Zumba or African dance, and that's what we've done. So in this short period of time, we have now created a global team. We are now offering solutions to individuals and corporations around global wellness. We have instructors on our platform from 4 different continents. We've had people join our community and take our classes, that we have live classes 6 days a week, and we also have a on-demand library of hundreds of classes. And we've had people join from literally 10 different countries and 5 different continents, and we're really, really proud of that. And so I actually like know people now that are a part of our team that live like around the world even more than I did before. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what's particularly admirable about you, Naya, many things that's admirable about you, but is your ability to check all of those boxes that you just mentioned, to build a global team, to expand wellness to people all across the world, but do it with balance in your life. Um,
Mm,
we just had a member of our community, mention some of her struggles with stress and anxiety. She's also an entrepreneur, just like you. Could you
mhm,
kind of put us into your mind frame? You had a particular riveting experience in your life around wellness with someone very dear and close to you.
mhm,
What were the tools and tips that you kind of built in your practice to maintain internal wellness and internal
mhm.
health through all of the ups and downs that you mentioned?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been a lifetime. It's been a lifetime of growth and self-awareness. And it really is. It's not like, oh, just one class or, oh, just, one workshop or one retreat. It's been really this accumulation of self-care tools that I've been adding to my toolkit, and I've been seeking it, right? So, if we seek it out, we're going to be a lot more successful if we're intentional. And so I just knew shortly after I graduated from college that like what I was doing just couldn't be it. And it's funny that you're in Detroit now. That's where I started. My
Yeah,
one of my second job out of college was with the Hartford Insurance, and I lived in Indian Village, and then I worked in Dearborn, and I was just like. Okay, so you go to college, you're supposed to get this job that gives you this great benefits and it has like a reputable name. And I was a commercial lines underwriter and I hated every bit of it. I hated it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this job is killing me. And I was like so drained. I was just like, oh my God, I'm so drained. Like, how can I can't keep doing this. And so sometimes it's just the pain of what doesn't work,
yeah,
even in the pain of, I don't want to keep feeling like this. I don't, what it did is it sparked something in me and said, like, this can't be it. This can't be it. And while it was like the that particular job, I understood, I could clearly see that this is what, we're kind of conditioned to take this path, right? And everybody's path is different. And for some people, they may have absolutely loved that job. But I understood that this was not it for me, that this could not be it for me, and there had to be something more. And so it put me on a journey. And I also think that sometimes life will put people in your path. So there was actually a woman in my building that was doing a moving sale in my high rise. And I went and she sparked a fire in me. And she said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm here. I'm working for the Hartford. I'm a commercial lines under. I thought it was going to sound impressive. And
yeah,
so she was a renowned, like, holistic practitioner and was a physician, but actually shifted from that to do more holistic practice. And she talked to me about the risks that she had to take to be in alignment with her calling, and so and her purpose. And that conversation sparked something that put me on a pursuit. So then I started to do more reading. And so, everything from, I'm definitely a woman of faith, so my spiritual practice is what grounds me, and I lean into that every day. So I would say one of the things you can do is start to just pay attention. Anyone can do this at any age. Pay attention to what makes your spirit come alive. Pay attention to what brings you calm. Pay attention to what brings you peace and what brings you joy and what brings you fulfillment. And around the same time, my sister-in-law gave me this book called Simple Abundances. And it talked about those simple abundances, or the same things that I just said, articulated differently. So it can be just a beautiful sunset. It can just be the breeze that's blowing. It can be the birds that are chirping. And so that put me on my trajectory to start to be more in tune with my own holistic practices and in feeding my spirit and feeding my soul. So that's gratitude journaling. I've been doing that daily for years, and it's a powerful paradigm shifter. It's making sure that on the weekends that I keep that part of me alive that my dad really cultivated in us, to have fun and to play and to go to the beach and do things like that. So even if I'm grinding 16 hours a day, I make sure that I'm going to do something that I enjoy on the weekend. Otherwise, you know what, we're going to burn out real quick and we won't really feel like it's worth it. And so I know it's a long answer, but I'll also say I have over 90 holistic lifestyle strategies, 60 powerful daily coaching questions and daily reading in my book, which is a #1 bestseller. It's on Amazon,
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
30 Days to Utopia Living. And so if you're looking for a guide, it's a wonderful way to start your own practice of utopia living.
Hey, I mean, I love it. Naya, I mean, I don't have the words. I mean, I think that you mentioned, being that person in someone's life, and I think that through your work, you've kind of like democratized that. Like you're able to be that person in someone's life by the services that you provide through Spy Utopia and the book and the words that you've written down. So, I mean, amazing. I'm like just having a moment here, guys. Having a moment. Sorry. um, Naya, I wanted to ask you another question the audience have voted on. Um,
Yes.
you know, w- could you tell us about a time, like maybe one of the biggest learning lessons that you experienced, in your journey to build, Spy Utopia and global wellness?
I would say take a rest if you must, but don't quit. Don't give up. And be open to coaching, be open to guidance, ask people for feedback. I know this is more than one answer. And when I say take a rest, you might need to just pause and just kind of lean back for a couple of months. There have been times in my journey where I did that. But it doesn't mean you have to just put pressure on yourself to say either I am going to do this at 100% today or I'm going to just shut it down. And I think sometimes we have this immediate gratification mindset and we do a all or nothing and we can beat ourselves up and pressure ourselves so much that we force ourselves to make a hard line decision when it's not necessarily necessary. So giving ourselves that margin to replenish, restore, reset, reevaluate can allow us to come back that much stronger than starting all over again. So keep building. And then if you decide it's time to sunset it, that's okay too. That's okay. And I want to say this, if you haven't created a personal mission statement, do that. Because if you're living out your personal mission every day, it doesn't matter the name of your company, it doesn't matter who you work for, yourself or someone else. You are living on purpose every single day. And so it's still a win, no matter the umbrella, no matter the container.
No.
And so mine is to empower people to live passionately on purpose, mind, spirit, and body. And I can do that in micro and macro ways.
I mean, I love that empowering people to live passionately on purpose. That is
Yeah.
beautiful. It leaves nothing to the imagination. Um, you know exactly what you're saying. That's the mission. Um,
Yeah, that's
I mean, on that vein, Naya, you mentioned if you don't already have one, defining like a life mission, a personal mission statement.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
what are some other pieces of advice that you share with entrepreneurs, kind of like along that vein, or it could be totally different?
Yeah, I would say slightly different is just build and connect in community because entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey and it's extremely difficult and it is so unrelenting and the stress levels are so high and the workloads are so high and the days are so long that if you don't have community, that community is our lifeline of resources, of venting, of sounding boards, of people that just understand what it's like. And it can really be and will be, your wind beneath your wings sometimes and many times. And you'll be that for someone else to encourage them. And so I've had so many times that someone from my community has encouraged me to just push through and fill out the application. And I was so tired and I don't want to fill out another application because you don't get half of them or most of them anyway. And then I did and I got it, and then that put me on a path to so many other open doors and opportunities or just a space, a safe space to just, like I said, understand and help you propel forward. So community is important. I don't believe you can do this on your own. And all of those other things that I talked about are going to actually be energized that community, because you all can bring forth these reminders to one another around self-care, around resources, around rest, all of those things.
I think that's definitely something that we strive to create here, and we really want. I want to personally thank you for coming and providing such insight and inspiration to this community in particular. I've seen over the past year entrepreneurs continuing to contribute and help each other here. So, Naya,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining and being a part of this conversation. We're doing a little thing different for you today because you're just so amazing, and hopefully we're going to continue to do that in the future as well.
This has been wonderful, and your questions were incredible. And I just want to say, Lyndon, I'm extremely proud of you of all that you've done in this short time that you because you're much younger than me, but you're just always innovating, always doing something new and inspiring, and just cannot be more proud. So thank you, and I do want to leave you all with this. Just continue to be kind to yourself, continue to celebrate your wins, and continue to remind yourself of your why.
I'm writing that down right now as we speak. I'm just like viciously writing that down with my pen.
Yeah, I want to be able to. Can I see?
Yeah. If you click into the chat, you should see what people are leaving for you today
I
as well.
see.
Yep. Mhm.
Oh, look, stretching into the new weeks is that's cool. That's cool pictures. I
Yeah,
think
the
I'm
chat was
listening.
very lively, so you should just see the whole thing going on. People were loving you, by the way, Naya.
Join us. Yeah. Join us. UtopiaSGW.com. Sign up for a trial with us. We do talks. We're going to be doing a book club too.
Ooh.
This is fun. This is awesome. I love it.
Yep. I would love to hear the overlaps. If there's something we can offer to our community members, we can talk about that. Love to throw something to our community members. So let us know.
Yeah. Yes, we will do that. Let's talk.
Okay.
Let's make sure
Okay,
that
let's
we
talk.
can give the community members some love, some Utopia love.
Yeah. All right, guys, you heard that, some Utopia love coming in. We love that. Well, Naya, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, continue to leave your takeaways now or takeaways later. We want to thank you all for joining in again this week. We'll see you guys next week for another amazing campfire. Naya, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Make it a utopian day, y'all.
Utopian day. Whoa. All right, you guys take
Yes.
care. Mhm. If you'd like to join the Accelerate Collective and attend future campfires, visit accelerateamerica.com/join and check out our future guest at accelerateamerica.com/campfire. Take care.